Okay, so what did you just watch? What you just watched was two different clips of the first one being a 5.56 55 grain bullet hitting a target from 380 yards away. The second clip was a 215 grain 300 Win Mag hitting that same target. Now, the point of this video is to show you the differences between the two, okay, and how much harder one hits more or the other. Now, I know what some of y'all are thinking, like, gee, detective, you really cracked the case on this one. This guy's the next Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, obviously the big round is going to hit harder than the small round. But the problem is some of you are going to be looking at that picture and thinking, yeah, it's twice as big, it's going to hit twice as hard. That's not the reality. That's not how we should be measuring bullets as far as the amount of energy that they're going to be putting into a target downrange. Okay, the one thing that you need to be looking at is actually the weight of the bullet. One of them being 5.56 55 grains, the other one 300 Win Mag at 215 grains, meaning that 215 grain is 4 times as heavy as that 5.56. But that does not mean it's going to hit 4 times as hard. In fact, it's going to hit way harder, right? All depending on velocity. We're assuming that the velocities are the same on both of these bullets, right? And so I did a little bit of math at 380 yards, right, which is the distance of that target. 5.56 hits with 329 foot-pounds of pressure versus a 215 grain bullet hits with 3,030 foot-pounds of pressure. So 10 times the amount of pressure, right, that it hits with. Right? If you look, it sends that 12-inch gong, right, 3/8 quarter steel, right, horizontal to the ground. Hits pretty hard. Okay. And to put it into perspective even further, at 100 yards, that 5.56 grain bullet, 55 grain bullet, hits with 740 foot-pounds of pressure at 100 yards, so the average zeroing distance. Okay, in order for that 215 grain bullet to hit with the same amount of pressure, that same 740 foot-pounds, right, it would have to travel 2,020 or 2,200 yards before it reaches the same amount of impact pressure, right, as that 5.56 at 100 yards. So it has to travel 22 times the distance before it reaches those same impact pressures. It makes a big difference, knowing the weight and how it will affect how hard it's going to hit. Okay, this is going to be a knowledge that if you were to dive into long distance shooting is very, very important, right? Because I've had a lot of clients come out with their ARs and they want to see how far they can push it. They want to push their game to the next level and start pushing out to distance with their AR-15s. And I've had people come out with 20-inch barrels, and we easily do 900 rounds or 900 yards with quality ammo, right? That's got good velocities, right? Going 3,200 feet per second. And I've also had people come out with 16s, right? We do the same thing. And then I've had clients come out with 11.5-inch, super small, very, very compact ARs. And that person was shooting some old Russian, not so high quality ammo. And it was amazing. Like, we learned that with that setup, we could barely go beyond 400 yards because the muzzle velocity was so slow. I was surprised it was even coming out the end of the barrel. It was very, very slow. For that same target, about 380 yards, we were holding, I think it was like 40, 45 inches above the target, if I remember correctly. So a really big holdover for that distance. It makes a huge difference getting to know your rounds, right? Especially for all the hunters out there. If anybody's out there thinking that they should go hunting with a 5.56, please, for the love of God, do not do that. It is just not big enough to ethically kill an animal. And so knowing that round, right, with 5.56, 6.5 Creedmoor, a lot of people go into 6.5 Creedmoor these days. It's a very high performing round, but again, it's not very big. It doesn't weigh a ton. Will it kill a deer? Absolutely. But knowing the maximum range of that round and how far it can go is going, with how much pressure it's going to hit at that target at what distance, is going to really separate you from, making a good kill on an animal and having a good harvest versus wounding it and having it get away and dying later on. So again, knowing your rifle, being intimate with the ammo, and taking your skills to that next level will make you a better hunter, make you a better shooter, and just an all-around better, responsible firearms user. So I highly recommend you don't be intimidated by the math and the numbers and diving into this, right? Because coming out the other end, it'll pay for itself, sevenfold. If you're interested in some of this stuff and you want to skip all the BS of trying to figure it out on the internet and you just want to try and figure it out all in one day, you can go to SeattleSniperTraining.com. I will train you personally one-on-one, and I guarantee you 1,000-yard impact with at least my rifle, and if you bring a decent enough setup with your rifle as well. And so again, you can. I've had people come out who farthest shot they've ever taken is 25 yards. They leave the end of that day, their farthest shot's 1,000. So if you're interested, again, SeattleSniperTraining.com. You can book right there. You can email me, SeattleSniperTraining@gmail.com. And we'll get started. Look forward to it. Best of luck.